Hey, good morning guys, and welcome back. Today, I think we're going to be exploring the world that is Dollar Tree Plus. Now, the store that I regularly shop at does not have a Plus section, and for those of you who are unaware, Plus is like a new integrated section that Dollar Tree is adding to their freezer section particularly, where they're selling $3, $4, and $5 items rather than the set $1.25 pricing structure. My Dollar Tree does not have a Plus section as of yet, so I had to go to other Dollar Trees in order to get some of the items I'm using today. But some of you may already see these items in your store, so I felt like it was an important kind of concept to touch on. And I hope it's helpful to those of you who do have Plus sections in your store. I will be kind of talking about the cost of these items. It is a little bit different, and kind of talking about the value of them. So when it comes to the value of the item, that is entirely up to you. The benefit to these is that it's small packages. It's available at Dollar Tree. So depending on your financial situation, your household, how many people you're feeding, these items can be worthwhile just in the fact that they're small packages, or maybe they're not. But regardless, I think it'd be fun to make some meals out of it, and we are gonna start with some chicken fried steak. I'm sure many of you are not new to Dollar Tree carrying a ribeye steak, as they did not too long ago, and it used to only be $1.25. Now it is $3. So this is the mechanically tenderized, rubbed with seasoning, tenderized with bromelain ribeye, boneless beef ribeye steak. So this is a 5.5 ounce steak, and I'm sure some degree of that is kind of liquid that's going on back here. So I'd probably say that the actual steak itself is probably closer to 4 ounces for $3. I could of course just cook this steak up and eat it as is, but I thought it'd be fun to make one of my personal favorite dinners, which is chicken fried steak. So these steaks do come frozen, and I have gone ahead and thawed mine out so it's ready to go, and I'm gonna start by unpackaging it. Now the color, first and foremost, is a little bit more on the brown side, and that is most likely because of the kind of brine that it's sitting in, more so than it's actually the meat itself. So it does say that it's tenderized with bromelain, so imagine it's sitting kind of in an acid pool essentially, and so that's why the color of it kind of changes a little bit. I do see a little bit of a fatty bit here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. This is not the right knife for it. I have a better knife that I usually use, but I think it's in the dishwasher. And then I am going to go ahead and cut this steak in half because I'm going to be making this for 2 people. So I've got 2 like little portions of steak here, and now we're going to have to pound this out. Country fried steak or chicken fried steak is meant to be a like cubed steak, but obviously can't get that at Dollar Tree. So I am excited for the potential to make this, even if I'm not really making it with the technically right cut of meat. But I put some plastic over top of it, and I'm gonna just pound that out into a thin, flat little piece. So I've got my 2 kind of flattened out little steak patties here, and I'm gonna go ahead and prepare the breading. I'm gonna keep the breading fairly simple. I'm gonna start off with some all-purpose flour, probably about half a cup or so for my 2 little steak patties. Now the steak does say it is pre-seasoned, so I'm gonna keep this fairly simple. I'm just gonna season this up with a pretty liberal amount of salt and pepper. Now when it comes to country fried steak, it is topped in a gravy, so I don't really feel like you need a whole lot of seasonings in the breading itself. You can feel free to add whatever you want to it, but I'm gonna rely mostly on the gravy for the seasoning aspect. Into a second separate container, I'm gonna go ahead and crack in 1 egg. Again, we're only making 2 steaks, so we don't need a whole lot going on here. And I'm gonna go ahead and scramble that up. I'm gonna go ahead and add a small splash of water into that egg there, about 1 tablespoon, just to loosen it up a little bit. Moving on to breading our steak, I'm gonna go ahead and dredge it first in just the flour mixture. And secondly, we're gonna go ahead and dunk those in the egg mixture. I don't do the whole wet hand, dry hand. I'm only breading 2 steaks here, so it's not that big of a deal for me. I'm gonna go ahead and put that back in the flour mixture so it gets a nice kind of thick coating of breading on there. For the gravy, we're keeping it simple. I'm just gonna use a packet of country gravy. Of course, you can make your own gravy. Pre-dissolve my gravy in 2 cups of cold water. So I've got a skillet preheated with some vegetable oil, and I'm gonna go ahead and just fry both of my little steak patties. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. I don't know if you can even hear me over this, but I'm gonna go ahead and take out my steaks and let them rest on a paper towel while we prepare our sides. Sides are really simple. I love just mashed potatoes and a vegetable. So for today's dinner, I am gonna do some roasted garlic instant mashed potatoes. And I'm just gonna have some canned green beans on the side. I have some French style green beans. I'll just season those up with some salt and pepper. I might even just microwave them because, you know, I'm all in the business of a quick dinner. So there are my mashed potatoes. Basically, while the steak is frying up, you can get some water heating up for some potatoes. You can even microwave to thicken up the gravy. You can microwave yourself some vegetables on the side. And then you would have this entire dinner ready in about 15 to 20 minutes tops. And so with that, we are ready to assemble our plates here. We're gonna start off with some mashed potatoes on each plate. A country fried steak, chicken fried steak. I don't know what you guys call it. You guys will have to let me know. Some green beans. And country fried steak isn't complete without a good drizzle of some country gravy over the top, which we can also use on our potatoes as well. And that is our Dollar Tree country fried steak dinner plate. I'm very optimistic that this is going to turn out good, so let's give it a try. It is a little bit more tough than a typical country fried steak made with cube steak is. However, considering it was made with a $3 ribeye from Dollar Tree, it is a fantastic country steak. It's just a little bit more tough and chewy than I'm used to it being, but the flavor is fantastic, especially paired with these garlic mashed potatoes. Like, I feel like that's actually what sets it up over the top, is that kind of rich garlicky flavor from the potatoes. I'm about to devour this entire steak. So, I mean, I think that that says something. Truly one of those kind of stick to your rib meals. I feel like this is a really great Dollar Tree meal option for those who don't really like skillet meals or casseroles and you kind of want that traditional meat, vegetable, and potato style dish. The second thing that I got at a Dollar Tree with a plus section is some of this cooked salad shrimp. Now this is an 8-ounce bag. It is the kind of baby size shrimp and it was $5. So not the best price because I can get a 12-ounce bag at Walmart for about $5.50 or so. But still, I mean, if you're talking about being limited to only Dollar Tree or preferring to shop at Dollar Tree, because there are a lot of people who just generally prefer to, due to the smaller crowds, the smaller stores, you know, there's a lot to be said about having less choice and being able to save money by limiting options. So I do think that this is a good buy, essentially. It's not the best value, but it does seem pretty decent. I'm gonna be making some spicy shrimp rolls. So to make my spicy shrimp rolls, I have some hot dog buns, I have my cooked salad shrimp, and I have some of this buffalo mayonnaise. I just got this at Dollar Tree yesterday, I wanna say, or maybe the day before. They didn't have regular mayonnaise in stock. They have buffalo mayonnaise, which is actually, this is a giant bottle for $1.25, and it does expire in November, which is probably why they had it, and that's totally fine. I'll definitely get some use out of it. So I'm gonna be using this to make spicy, but if you wanna make regular shrimp salad, then just replace the buffalo with just plain mayonnaise, season it with salt and pepper. As you can see, I do not have butter or margarine. That's because I'm actually gonna be using the mayonnaise to toast up my buns. So there is my shrimp. It has been thawed and drained. I can see a couple spots where I might have to go through and slightly devein some of the shrimp a little bit better than they were. But they are, for the most part, deveined. It looks like it's just this kind of back portion on most of them. So I'll just keep an eye out and kind of cut away little bits if I need to out of the shrimp. But yeah, these have been thawed, and I did just give them a quick drain and a quick rinse. And I'm pretty much just gonna go through and mince this shrimp into smaller bits. Minced up shrimp in a bowl, and I'm just gonna add some of this Kraft buffalo dressing to it. Add just a little bit more. Perfect. For a side dish, I'm gonna fry up some steak cut French fries. I'm just gonna do the French fries in the air fryer for convenience. You can fry them on the stovetop or you can bake them in the oven. And I'm just gonna go ahead and toss these in some vegetable oil prior to putting them in the air fryer. You can also go ahead and season these up. I'm gonna wait to season them until they're just about done cooking. These are gonna get transferred into my air fryer basket. And then, like I've mentioned before, when it comes to an air fryer, I literally just stick this in at 400 degrees and I'll toss it around every once in a while. And then I'm just happy whenever they're golden brown to my liking. So for my lunch, I am having some spicy shrimp salad with my salt and pepper seasoned french fries, and I can use that buffalo dressing to dip the french fries in, which I probably will do. Now, as you can see, what I ended up doing, I split the hot dog buns in half. I spread each one with a pretty generous amount of that buffalo dressing, and I used that as the base to fry the hot dog buns. I did kind of over fry a couple of them, but that's totally fine. I'll still eat them. But I'm excited to try this. I think it looks fantastic. Let me grab some dipping sauce for my french fries. Essentially, I have used this buffalo dressing in 3 different ways, and I think that that's a really interesting way to use one ingredient across several items to make the most of it. So I used it for the shrimp salad, I used it to toast my buns, and now I'm gonna use it as a dipping sauce for my french fries. We'll start with the french fries first, just for funsies. So these are the steak cut french fries. They toasted up pretty well in the air fryer. You know, it's funny to think back on all of the Dollar Tree dinners that I've ever made and the very few amount of times that I have actually used these french fries as french fries. Oh, it's got a kick. I usually use them as potatoes in some form in lots of other dishes, like anywhere that you would use fresh diced potatoes. But, I mean, they're pretty good french fries. I could have probably let them go in the air fryer just a little bit longer, but I'm impatient and I'm hungry, so shrimp salad sandwich, let's give this a try. I like spicy, so I feel like it could use even just a little bit more of that buffalo dressing. But otherwise, it's really good because it's, you know, that cold, nice like minced up shrimp in there. You've got that toasty bun. If you've ever had a lobster roll, it's kind of like that. And I definitely did spill some on my shirt. I have to be like the messiest eater on the planet, but I do think it could use just a smidge more heat. The best part about this is that these are Dollar Tree meals that do not feel or taste like Dollar Tree meals. And I think that that's the ultimate benefit of the plus section, is being able to go in and buy sort of a fresher meat. And, you know, it's frozen, but it is not like a canned meat. It is a whole form of, like, in this case, a shrimp, but it was a whole steak. I do feel like it has its perks. So in addition to the pre-cooked salad shrimp, I also found some uncooked raw shrimp, which is super fun. This was also $5, and I'm gonna be making one of my favorite dinners. It is not my recipe, it is Budget Bites recipe, but I love this one, and so I'm really happy to be able to make it with Dollar Tree ingredients. So like I said, this is not my recipe, this is Budget Bites recipe, but it is so good, I'm really happy to be able to share it. I'm using the shrimp, I have some white rice, chicken broth, some minced garlic, Cajun seasoning, and some lemon juice. These shrimp are deveined, but they are not peeled, so that's gonna be kind of my first step, is to go through and peel all of the shrimp. So there's my shrimp all peeled and ready to go. I'm gonna set this in the fridge until I'm ready to use it. And then really the only other prep work that I'm gonna be doing is kind of preparing the sauce to cook the rice in. So I'm gonna be measuring out 2 cups of chicken broth. I just wasted so much of that lemon juice trying to get that bottle open because the plastic is so thin that when you go to like squeeze it to pull the top off, it just spewed everywhere. Anyways, 2 cups of chicken broth and about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. A little bit more if you like more lemon. So I've got a skillet here with some oil preheated, about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I'm gonna add a pretty hefty amount of minced garlic, about a tablespoon. Saute that together for just a minute, just until the garlic is fragrant. And into that, I'm gonna add 1 cup of white rice. And I'm gonna pre-toast my rice. This is just personal preference. I like the way that the rice tastes and the rice cooks a little bit better, I find, when it's pre-toasted. So I'm gonna let this saute for about 3 to 5 minutes or so until the rice is golden brown. My rice is toasting up. I'm gonna go ahead and add in about a teaspoon of Cajun seasoning. I've mentioned it before, but I prefer this Kingsford Cajun seasoning because it's a low salt Cajun seasoning. The Tony's is just too salty for me, so I default to this one or I make my own. And then into this goes my chicken broth and lemon juice mixture. Couple of other options would be a bag of this roasted chicken flavored rice. You could just toss that in some lemon juice and some Cajun seasoning, cook your shrimp and serve it on top. Or pretend that this says chicken, this says cheddar broccoli. You could replace the chicken broth and the rice with one of these chicken rice sides, essentially. Add some lemon juice and some Cajun seasoning to it, and otherwise prepare it pretty much exactly the way that I'm doing. You would just substitute the 2 cups of chicken broth for 2 cups of water. Once my rice has come up to a boil, I'm gonna cover this with a lid. I'm gonna reduce the heat to low, and I'm gonna set a timer for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, I'm gonna turn off the heat. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the lid, and we're gonna top it with our shrimp. Just kind of scatter it along the top here. Shrimp does not need much heat or very long to cook, so then the lid goes back on, and I'm gonna let this sit and just kind of steam for another 15 minutes. And with that, the lemon garlic shrimp and rice bowl is done. This is super easy, great little weeknight dinner. Doesn't really take a whole lot of work, just a few ingredients. So let's go ahead and give it a taste. I do like to sprinkle the top with a little extra Cajun seasoning just for some extra heat. I also sometimes like to give it a little extra drizzle of some lemon juice after it's been cooked so that you get that kind of fresh pop of lemon in there. This will be great even if you add a can of vegetables to it, some green beans, corn, peas, anything you have on hand can go in this. Really great recipe. I've made it many times. It's one of my personal favorites, so you guys will have to try it. Let me know what you think. It tastes very buttery. It has a light chickeny flavor to it. This Cajun seasoning that I used here is not very spicy, so don't be afraid to add a lot. If you want some extra heat, you can even add some hot sauce on top. So moving on to our 4th and final Dollar Tree Plus meat item that I bought, we are going to be using some salmon fillets, and this was also $5. I'm going to open this up because I wasn't sure whether this bag came with 2 or 3 fillets. I think it comes with 2. Yeah. Oh, no, it does come with 3. Okay. So it looks like I've got a kind of small-ish fillet, also kind of small-ish, but one of the end pieces, and then a kind of largish fillet, but 3 total. So that should be perfectly fine to make a dinner with. I think I'm gonna try to go for a bit of a blackened salmon. So these salmon fillets are skinless fillets. It looks like they thawed out pretty well. I did go ahead and drain them, and I'm gonna pat them dry on some paper towels. So I have used Dollar Tree salmon before. That was back when they sold these single fillets for $1.25. So this is 3 kind of smallish fillets for $5, which isn't a bad price, I don't feel like. And so with this, I am going to, again, we're making a blackened salmon. So this is my homemade Cajun seasoning, Creole seasoning. That's what I'm going to be using for the salmon today. Of course, you can use the same Cajun seasoning that I showed earlier in the video. You can use Tony's, whatever you want. But since my salmon fillets are dry, I'm gonna pat them in some of my Cajun seasoning. And I will down below kind of include the recipe for this Cajun seasoning that I'm using today. So once all our salmon fillets are well coated in our Cajun seasoning, we are just gonna move this right on over to the skillet. All right, we've got some oil preheated in a skillet, and I'm gonna go ahead and fry up my salmon fillets on both sides, probably about 3 minutes per side. And when I'm cooking fish, I do like to set a timer to make sure I don't overcook it by accident. I didn't really decide what I was gonna do as a side dish to go with the salmon, but I think it would do really well with like a Cajun pasta since it's a blackened salmon. So I think I'm gonna transform this skillet into a pasta dish as soon as my salmon is done frying up. So this salmon is looking done. So I'm gonna go ahead, oh goodness, I can smell that chili. Okay, the salmon's done. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it off to a plate. And we're gonna begin deglazing the skillet. So I'm gonna add in some frozen seasoning blend, probably about half a bag. And I'm gonna hit that with the rest of my chicken broth, so about 2 cups of broth. Go ahead and throw in a spoonful of Cajun seasoning. And then I'm gonna go, oh, chilies, okay. I can't breathe. And then we're gonna go ahead and let that come up to a boil. I have some penne pasta left in this box. It's probably about 2 cups of pasta. And then this is gonna get covered and simmered for about 10 minutes. I'll stop and stir a couple of times during that. To transform this into a mock Alfredo sauce, I'm gonna add in some cream cheese. This is Dollar Tree's cream cheese style blend. I'll add in about 4 ounces to start. If I need to add more later, I can. And then I also have some Parmesan cheese. This is probably about a 1/4 cup. It's what I have left in this jar. I'm just going to let the cheeses melt, particularly the cream cheese. I do have more Parmesan cheese. If I feel like it needs more, I'll definitely add more. I also have more cream cheese. So we're gonna see how this looks after this has all melted down. And then if I feel like I need to add a little bit more creaminess to it, I definitely can. So my cheese is almost fully melted, and I do think that the creaminess looks pretty good. I just tried some of it. It tastes fantastic. Has a little bit of that kick from that Cajun seasoning, but I think we're pretty much ready to plate up this last dinner and try the Dollar Tree salmon. Sometimes I make a meal and even I don't know the direction that it's gonna take when I start it to when I finish it. And this is one of those. The pasta I kind of threw together on the fly with ingredients I already had on hand because I didn't really know what sides I was gonna do with blackened salmon, but I think it turned out pretty fantastic. The salmon looks gorgeous, has a nice like crust on it. The pasta is super creamy. I have already tried the pasta, but I have not tried the salmon yet. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a bite of the salmon, which is nice and flaky. And we're gonna pair that with our pasta here, and let's try our Dollar Tree salmon. Honestly, and I'm not kidding here, this might be the best Dollar Tree dinner that I have ever made. And it is because it's probably one of the more expensive Dollar Tree dinners that I've ever made, considering that the salmon was $5. And all of the recipes that I made in this video are more expensive than the recipes I would typically make. So that delves into the question, is Dollar Tree Plus worth it? And the answer is kind of an, it depends on your situation and your reasons for shopping at Dollar Tree versus other stores. But honestly, the quality of the food is there. I will say that for the $5 price, this is a really good salmon. We got 3 decent sized fillets. The shrimp was good, both the cooked and uncooked shrimp. The steak was okay, and that was just because it was a little bit tougher and chewy for my taste. I would like to see some improvement in that market, but the steak was also only $3, whereas both of these were $5. So I will say that personally speaking, I will probably be using Dollar Tree Plus items when my store does eventually get a plus section, because I can make meals like this. For me personally, I don't really eat a lot of salmon. I don't really eat a lot of seafood, so being able to buy a small quantity of something is a little bit beneficial to me in my particular household versus buying a big bag of salmon that will take me a little while to get through, because salmon's not something I typically gravitate towards whenever I'm coming up with dinner ideas for the week. I hope you guys all enjoyed this journey through the Dollar Tree Plus items. I hope you enjoyed the meals that I made today. If you guys try them, of course, let me know in the comments down below. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon.